Sometimes, life feels like a massive storm, pulling you into a whirlwind of crisis, failure, anxiety, and despair. There are nights when you sit quietly in a dark room, your heart heavy and exhausted, knowing deep down that you deserve a brighter, more vibrant life, but feeling held back by procrastination, self-doubt, and those old habits that keep looping over and over. You long to break free, to level up, but every time you resolve to change, fear and self-doubt pull you right back. But remember this, it's right in the heart of the storm that your inner strength and the light of hope are forged. The greatest turning points in life don't wait for circumstances to change. They demand that you dare to look at yourself honestly. Summon the courage to step out of your comfort zone, break through old limitations, and take action even when you don't feel ready. If you see yourself in these stories, stay until the end. Here, you'll find the core principles to break free from stagnation, awaken your inner strength, and take charge of your destiny starting today, not a minute later. 1. Why your brain wants you to stay the same. Imagine you're a ship anchored quietly in a harbor. Out there, the waves roar, the winds whip fiercely, and before you lies a vast, unpredictable ocean. Staying put feels safe. Nobody will blame you, but you know, a ship isn't meant to just sit still. And you're not here on this earth just to survive, to relive the same dull days like a never-ending draft, convincing yourself this is enough. But the most dangerous trap isn't outside, it's within your own mind. Most people get stuck in the comfort zone they built themselves. You may think you're being rational, but your brain's real priority is saving energy, avoiding risks, and clinging to the familiar. Every time you try to step out of old routines, your brain signals, "Stop, this is dangerous. You're not ready yet." This fear isn't truth. It's a relic from our ancestors, for whom every change could mean life or death. No one is chasing you in the wild anymore, but your brain still works hard to drag you back to anxiety, old habits, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of standing out. That's why so many times that you try to change but end up failing. The man who gets home exhausted, swearing he'll hit the gym, but turns on the TV and cracks open a beer instead. The father who wants to spend more time with his kids, but drowns in work, excusing himself with, "I'm too busy." Year after year, the cycle repeats. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is incredibly skilled at keeping you in place. Science shows structures like the basal ganglia are wired to maintain old habits and conserve energy. Every time you try to change, your brain pulls you back onto the familiar path. That's why motivation fades so quickly. It's no match for the force of deep-rooted habits. It's not your fault, it's biology. But real change only starts when you dare to question, to challenge the lies your mind tells you. The Stoics saw this thousands of years ago. Epictetus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." True power comes from mastering your mind, recognizing that fear is just an old defense mechanism, not reality. When you see this clearly, you gain the right to choose, stay the same, or actively break through your limits. That's the first step to breaking out of the cycle. Your brain creates the only path to regaining your strength and reaching new heights. Don't wait for a wave of motivation to change your life. Build the habit of asking, is this thought helping me move forward or just holding me back? Is this fear real or just an old reflex? Lewis Carroll wrote in Alice in Wonderland, "If you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there." Don't let your urge for change be just running away from discomfort. Get clear on who you want to become, where you want to go. Real change only comes when you know what you're moving toward, not just what you're escaping from. You can always start small. Do one hard thing today, even if it's just saying no to a bad habit. Observe your thoughts every time your brain whispers fear. Ask, is this real or just an old reflex? Every week, write down something you used to fear but did anyway. Act first, motivation will follow. Discipline is the foundation of all lasting change. Change doesn't come from running away, but from stepping bravely into the unknown. Your brain will resist, will doubt. That's proof you're heading in the right direction. You are not a hostage to fear, not a prisoner of your past. Just begin, even if you're not ready, even if you're scared. Small actions, repeated each day, will slowly rebuild your trust in yourself. You weren't born to stand still. Dare to take a step, even a small one, as long as it's real. Start today. If you wait, you only add more days to a life of repetition and regret. But if you stand up and challenge yourself, you'll see. Every day becomes a new journey, and you truly can own it, starting now. 2. Good enough is the barrier to greatness. If you ever find yourself at a crossroads, one path flat, familiar, comfortable, and easy, the other steep, challenging, but opening onto vistas you've never seen, what will you choose? Most will take the first road. That's the path of good enough. But pause and be honest with yourself. Maybe you have a steady job. Nobody complains. Your health is fine. Your relationship's calm. But deep down, life feels bland, and your passion has faded. You tell yourself, this is enough. But in reality, this is the sweetest, most dangerous trap, the trap of settling. Look around. How many people spend their lives just doing enough to fulfill responsibilities, never getting fired, but never growing? How many relationships continue out of habit, not passion or depth? How many times have you gone to the gym just to not get fat, but never pushed yourself to become stronger or better? That good enough state turns you into a faded shadow of your real self. Jim Collins, author of Good to Great, said, "Good is the enemy of great." When things are merely okay, you lose the urgency to change, the reason to step outside your comfort zone, the drive to grow, improve, or create. That comfort leads you to delay tough decisions and miss countless opportunities for breakthrough. If you're only doing enough not to be criticized, not to fall behind, you'll stay average where there are many people, but few leave any mark. Temporary satisfaction becomes a ceiling, an invisible barrier keeping you at a mediocre level. To reach excellence, creativity, deeper relationships, or extraordinary health, you need more than good enough. Real achievement means you're willing to face difficulty, to go beyond your old limits. Don't think you're the exception. This is the illness of our modern age. Look at Microsoft, Amazon, or any great company, they never let themselves settle for pretty good. They push themselves to innovate, or they risk being overtaken, left behind. If you find yourself living at good enough, ask, what will happen if you keep living like this for 5, 10, 20 years? What are you quietly missing out on just because you're afraid to push a little harder? When was the last time you truly gave your all? Try raising your standards, just one level up. If you're going to the gym twice a week, make it 3. If you always say, this is good enough, try doing something for excellence, just once. If your job is stable, learn a new skill, innovate at work, or take on a new challenge. Don't fear discomfort, because only there will you really grow. Good enough is a sweet sedative, but also a silent poison that kills all big dreams. You can live an ordinary life, no one will blame you, but no one will remember you either. Or you can break through not for the world, but because you deserve more. So will you keep walking the familiar, easy road, or dare to try the challenging climb ahead? Remember, good enough is just a barrier, not the destination. It's time to step past it and start today. Act for yourself, for a future where you won't look back with regret. The journey beyond good enough starts with one decision, and you can make it right now. 3. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Have you ever found yourself curled up under a warm blanket on a chilly morning, telling yourself you'll get up in 5 more minutes, then 10, only to end up spending the whole day in a cycle of delay? Comfort, no matter how soothing, is just like that blanket, soft, safe, but quietly keeping you locked inside your familiar zone. You think you're resting, but in reality, you're slowing down or even falling behind the person you could be tomorrow. It's a sweet trap, an invisible enemy that halts all progress. Ask yourself, why do we take fewer risks as we grow older? Why do we stick to the same old paths, avoiding the challenges we once dreamed of? The hard truth: your comfort zone is a prison you build for yourself. You think you're in control, but it's really the fear of discomfort, fear of failure, fear of judgment that silently runs your decisions. Every time you avoid discomfort, you're shutting the door on your own growth. How many times have you chosen comfort only to repeat the same results? How often have you avoided challenges, renewing your contract of stagnation with yourself? Before you know it, life becomes a never-ending loop, day after day, without any real progress. Don't mistake your comfort zone for harmless rest. Every day spent there is a day you willingly step further from your true potential. It's not just individuals who fall into this trap. Look at once mighty companies like A&P. Once the greatest grocery chain in America, wiped out because they rested on old successes, refused to innovate, and wouldn't accept new challenges. The same lesson applies everywhere. Resting in comfort is a step away from your own peak. Plato, a legendary Stoic philosopher, once said, "The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself." That's right. On the growth path, your biggest opponent isn't out there, but in the comfort you refuse to leave behind. You'll never know how far you can go if you keep clinging to what feels safe. Only when you dare to face discomfort, embrace challenge, and step beyond comfort, Do you truly conquer yourself, opening the door to every great achievement that follows? But understand this: winning over yourself means accepting inconvenience, awkwardness, and even the fear of failure. No path to success is smooth. You have to climb the slippery slopes, catch your breath when you're exhausted, and push through moments you want to give up. Real growth always starts with the smallest discomforts. The first day at the gym, you feel lost. The first time you speak in public, you tremble. The first day of earning a new skill, you feel clueless. But it's in those moments when you choose to face and overcome discomfort that you move closer, step by step, to your best self. Growth always lives at the edge of your comfort zone. So, take a good look at yourself. What comfort zone is holding you back? Write down one thing you always avoid just because it feels uncomfortable. Maybe it's speaking honestly with a colleague, starting a new habit, or asking for honest feedback. Then pick one small thing and commit to doing it. Don't wait until you're ready. That's the simplest, most effective way to expand your limits. One small action at a time. Every week, choose one thing that makes you just a little uncomfortable. Join a new class, start a conversation with someone new, or spend a day without your phone. Whenever your mind screams, choose safety, answer firmly, I choose to grow, not to take the easy way out. If you truly want to grow, embrace discomfort, because there's no exception to the rule of growth. Your greatest opponent isn't failure, it's being too easy on yourself. Never forget, comfort is the enemy of growth. Only by stepping outside, only by facing difficulty, do you truly come alive. Choose to grow, starting today, even if it's just one small action. Are you ready to fold up that cozy blanket and begin a new day for yourself? If so, do it now, because no one but you can change your destiny. 4. Break the cycle of excuses. You know, nothing quietly destroys our potential more than the small excuses we tell ourselves every single day. We get used to saying, I'll do it tomorrow, I'm not ready, that's just not for me. If only I had better circumstances, I'd be different. They seem harmless, but each repetition quietly erodes your willpower and your freedom. Excuses don't just postpone action, they silently hand over control of your life to circumstances and other people. You think you're avoiding risk, failure, or pain, but really, you're just shrinking and limiting yourself day after day. Excuses and reasons are like the soft bed of stagnation. They bring a false sense of safety, shielding you from worry, judgment, and challenge. You tell yourself, it's because of my age, my family, my job, my situation. But have you noticed? The more reasons you have, the fewer results you get. And you're not alone in this loop. Remember Bethany Hamilton, the American surfer who lost her arm to a shark attack at 13. It was a shocking, life-altering trauma, enough to make anyone give up and settle for good enough. But Bethany refused to let excuses drown her. Instead of saying, I can't surf anymore, she was back in the ocean less than a month later, learning to balance and surf with just one arm. She came back to win competitions and became an inspiration to millions. That's the power of refusing to let excuses stop you. Ask yourself honestly, Has anyone ever done something extraordinary without banishing every excuse? Growth and happiness never come from waiting for perfect conditions. They come from acting even when things are unfinished, even when you still doubt yourself. You'll never grow if you keep dodging every minor difficulty. Excuses are a shiny box of comforting words, but they block your progress. Every time you settle for a reason, you give away a piece of your self-respect, a piece of your right to control your own life. So, how do you break this cycle? First, face it head-on. Don't ask, "Is there a reason I can't do this?" Ask, "How many ways can I make this happen?" Don't let the outside world decide for you. Focus on the small actions you can control. Start by writing down every excuse you make during the day. I'm too busy, I'm tired, I'm afraid of failing, I'm not good enough. Read them back. You'll see they're just the same old scripts. Then, pick the biggest excuse holding you back and do the opposite. If you always say, "I don't have time to exercise," set aside just 10 minutes a day, no matter how busy or tired you are. It doesn't have to be much, just be consistent, and you'll slowly regain control of your life. Next, find or build yourself a circle of action takers, people who don't accept excuses, who push each other forward. Being around them gives you the drive to break out of old patterns. Each week, pick one small goal and commit to completing it no matter how you feel. Action is the only antidote to excuses. Also, stay away from environments that only coddle you with, "It's okay, take your time." Seek out those who hold themselves and you accountable. The biggest difference between someone who grows up and someone who stays stuck is this: the grown-up sees the walls they've built and dares to tear them down. Don't mistake excuses for wisdom. They're just fear in disguise. Only when you're brave enough to look every excuse in the eye and refuse to let them hold you back will you truly be strong. Remember, action today is proof of real change. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for the right moment. Don't wait for permission. Step out of the cycle of excuses, even if it's just one small thing that's the beginning of every major transformation in your life. Will you choose to take charge of your destiny or keep hiding behind reasons? The choice is entirely yours, starting today. 5. You're not tired, you're under-challenged. You know, there was a time I thought I was just lazy, someone with no willpower. There were mornings when I just didn't want to get out of bed, weighed down by an invisible force. My days were on repeat. Go to work, come home, lose myself in social media or movies, and by nightfall, all I felt was emptiness, like nothing meaningful had happened at all. If anyone asked how I was, I'd just sigh. Lately, I'm exhausted. I have no motivation. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized I wasn't tired from doing too much. I was tired from living too little. What drained my spirit wasn't a lack of rest, but a lack of challenges that pushed me to grow and live fully in each moment. Maybe you felt the same, burned out, uninspired, stuck in a rut. But think back. When do you feel most alive? Isn't it when you're caught up in a new project, determined to master a tough skill, or stretching yourself in a competition you really want to win? On the flip side, those long, boring days are the ones without any challenge, nothing pushing you to break through. We're not machines that simply run out of fuel and stop. Your mind, your body, your spirit, they were all built to grow through challenge. When life gets too familiar, when there are no new goals to chase, you slip into a state of merely existing, living, but not truly alive. Burnout, laziness, stagnation. They usually aren't from doing too much, but from life being too predictable, too flat. You know exactly what tomorrow will bring, what you'll eat, what you'll think. Life becomes a straight, dull line with no waves to row against. Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." If every day is the same, there's no reason to try harder, no excitement, no sense of growth. Whenever you set a new goal or decide to learn something tough, your brain lights up. It brings willpower, emotion, creativity, and your body releases dopamine, the motivation molecule. Successful people aren't those with more time to relax. They're those who constantly seek new challenges, always asking, "What's next that will make me stronger, braver, better?" When you dare to step out of your comfort zone, you rediscover the inner strength you thought was lost. So don't wait for motivation to magically appear before you act. Start setting challenges for yourself. Here's a checklist I've used, and I hope you'll try it too. Pick one challenge for the next month. Learn a new skill. Sign up for a fitness challenge or start a personal project. Break that big goal into small, clear steps, so every day you have something that pushes you to beat your usual laziness. Track your feelings and energy after each small challenge. Notice how your inner drive gets recharged. Regularly ask yourself, what have I done today that helped me grow? If the answer is nothing, make it a point to do something different tomorrow. Remember, you weren't born just to repeat yourself from yesterday. If you feel tired or uninspired, don't rush to blame your job, your age, or your circumstances. Maybe what you really need is a mountain to climb, a big enough challenge to awaken the real energy inside you. Starting is always the most important step. Reignite your life with a new challenge, no matter how small, and you'll rediscover the strength, meaning, and joy you thought you'd lost. You're not tired, you're just under-challenged. And you can change that starting today. If you're ready, leave a comment. I'm ready to change myself, and let's start stepping out of our comfort zones right now. 6. Motivation won't save you, discipline will. Think about it. How many times have you waited to feel inspired before starting something? How many mornings did you tell yourself, "I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'm just not motivated today"? Waiting for motivation is like waiting for rain during a drought. And let's be honest, life rarely goes the way we want. The truth is, motivation is just a fleeting feeling. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Maybe a powerful talk, a good movie, or an inspiring conversation fires you up for a moment. But as soon as you're back to work, responsibilities, and old habits, that motivation fades away, leaving you stuck in the cycle. Boredom, procrastination, disappointment in yourself. Most people think success is about finding more motivation by reading books, watching videos, attending seminars, and hyping each other up. But nobody can go the distance on feelings alone. Motivation is like a wave, sometimes high, sometimes it crashes. What really creates lasting success for athletes, artists, and entrepreneurs isn't those high-energy moments, but the ability to show up, do the work, keep your promises, even when you feel absolutely zero motivation, even when nobody's watching. Discipline is the real secret, doing what needs to be done, no matter how you feel. Think about something simple, like brushing your teeth every morning. You don't need motivation, right? It's just a habit, a natural part of your life. That's the key to any big change. Build small habits, repeat them daily, one step at a time. Real, sustainable success never comes from sprinting when you feel like it, but from small, consistent actions, no matter what. Discipline isn't self-torture. It's not about grinding yourself down until you collapse. Discipline is simply making a promise to yourself and keeping it like you would to the most important person in your life. Each time you follow through, you build inner trust and self-respect. Each broken promise chips away at that trust. Success isn't a product of heroic sprints, but of all those boring days waking up early, working out, planning, reading instead of scrolling, finishing tasks even when you're bored. Remember the words of Epictetus. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Don't wait for inspiration. Decide who you want to become, then do the small things each day to get there. Motivation will come and go, but discipline is the heartbeat that keeps you moving forward. When you commit to yourself and stick with it, you're no longer a slave to feelings or circumstances. Your steady actions turn intentions into results and shape you into the person you really want to be. Don't treat working out, learning, or personal growth as things you'll do when you feel like it. Schedule them. Make them non-negotiable appointments with yourself. Start small, one push-up, a few pages of reading, jotting down your goals. Pair new actions with old habits. Make coffee, write down goals, brush your teeth, do a quick stretch. Track your progress, even the tiniest wins, to see yourself moving forward, fueling your inner drive. And most of all, treat every promise as a contract with yourself. If you wouldn't flake on your boss or your team, don't bail on yourself. Each act of self-discipline, no matter how small, shapes you into the most reliable version of yourself you can be. You don't lack motivation, you lack discipline. And discipline isn't something you're born with, it's a skill you build day by day. Each time you keep your word to yourself, you get closer to your strongest self. Don't ask, "Do I feel inspired today?" Ask, "Did I do what needed to be done?" Success, freedom, growth. It all starts with small, repeated steps. Even when no one is watching, no one is cheering. Discipline will save you, not motivation. So if you're ready, start building it today. Keep your word. Take action. Repeat. That's the only real path to leveling up in the most lasting way. 7. Start before you're ready. My friend, not every great journey begins with a perfect roadmap. Most of them begin with a shaky first step, a quiet question: can I really do this? Think of Malala Yousafzai, a small girl in Pakistan who stood up for her right to go to school in the face of violence and threats. When Malala started, she didn't have a flawless plan, no experience, no support network, and certainly no guarantee of success. But she chose to act instead of waiting, and that one step changed the world. Do you realize that if we always waited until we felt ready, we might wait forever? That's the truth. It may sound harsh, but it's also freeing. The perfect moment only exists in your imagination. Out there, life doesn't pause for you to build up courage, skills, or confidence before giving you an opportunity. The more you think, calculate, and learn, the more not ready you'll feel. Confidence doesn't come from waiting. It's born from action, no matter how small or imperfect. You'll never know everything, and you'll never be perfectly prepared before diving into anything new. And that's exactly why you don't need it all figured out to start. The moment you take a single step, your brain shifts from defensive to learning mode. Yes, you'll make mistakes, feel awkward, maybe even embarrassed. But only real experience builds real resilience and shows you your fears are smaller than you imagined. Sometimes, just starting means you're already halfway there. Think about any skill you've mastered: driving, speaking German, public speaking. Were you ever truly ready before you started? Or did confidence only come after many shaky starts, failures, and lessons learned the hard way? Feeling awkward, clumsy, and embarrassed, it's normal. Everyone goes through it. The key is not to stop there. To start, even when you feel not enough. Face your fears directly. Write down what's holding you back. Lack of knowledge, fear of failure, fear of judgment. Once you're clear, pick one tiny action. Don't try to do it all. Maybe it's signing up for a language class, reading 5 minutes a day, or trying one new exercise move. You don't need to know it all right now. At the same time, accept that you'll feel awkward. Remind yourself that everyone goes through a clueless phase before they get good. Every time you act, no matter how small, praise yourself and record your wins to keep your momentum going. You'll see, it's the action that creates confidence, not the other way around. Malala didn't wait until she felt safe or strong before speaking up. She started with the smallest things, documenting her life under Taliban rule, sharing her words online anonymously, then slowly appearing on TV and advocating for girls' education, even with danger all around. Each small act, repeated, built her courage and eventually global impact. We often think, I need more knowledge, more skills, more connections, more money before starting. But as Plato said, the beginning is the most important part of the work. Starting, no matter how messy or shaky, is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Daring to begin is already defeating the biggest enemy, fear and procrastination. So don't wait until you're ready. True readiness only comes once you've started, once you've allowed yourself to fail and learned from the experience. Don't let another idea, dream, or passion die inside you just because you lack confidence or don't feel good enough. Start before you're ready. It's the only way to truly grow, to reinvent yourself, and change your life. You might stumble, be afraid, or even fail. But only then will you know how strong and resilient you really are. Remember, Acting now, even in the smallest ways, builds experience, confidence, and transforms fear into fuel. Every small action counts. Every step, no matter how shaky, moves you forward. Take that step today and let this very moment be the start of your greatest journey. Don't wait any longer, because one day you'll thank yourself for having the courage to start, even when you still weren't ready. As you look back on the whole force yourself to level up journey, you'll see it's your brain that wants to keep you safe in your comfort zone. Good enough is the quiet enemy that kills your potential. Comfort is the drug that makes you forget your true ambitions. Excuses are just masks for the fear of failure. You're not tired. You just need bigger challenges. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline and habits are the launchpad for true, lasting growth. You don't need to wait to be ready. Start acting, and confidence, energy, results will follow. Simple, practical solutions from your first tiny step to seeking out challenges, changing habits, tracking progress, and keeping promises to yourself. They can all start today. If you found this video helpful, leave a comment with 1 below. If you think there's something I could improve, don't hesitate to leave 0 and your feedback so I can do better next time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos on your journey to discovering and applying Stoic philosophy, helping you become stronger, calmer, and level up every day. Keep watching the videos at the end of the screen, and let's keep leveling up together, one step at a time.